On my 20th birthday, my parents handed my cake to my brother and told me to stop being dramatic when I walked out. They laughed and said I would come back crawling. They were right about one thing. I did come back. Just not the way they expected. I grew up in a house where love had a ranking system. My brother, Aaron, sat comfortably at the top. He was louder, needier, more reckless, and somehow always rewarded for it. If he failed a class, my parents blamed the teacher. If I succeeded, they said I was just doing what was expected. From a young age, I learned how to disappear in plain sight. I learned not to ask for much. Not to complain. Not to expect celebrations, praise, or recognition. I told myself that consistency was love. That survival was enough. Birthdays were the clearest proof of where I stood. Aaron's birthdays were events. Guests, decorations, expensive gifts, loud music. Mine were quiet acknowledgments, if they were acknowledged at all. Still, I believed that my 20th birthday would be different. I was wrong. I came home that afternoon to balloons I hadn't chosen. Blue and silver. Aaron's favorite colors. There was a cake on the table. Not my favorite flavor. Not even my name written correctly. His friends were already there, sprawled across the living room like it belonged to them. I asked my mother what was going on. She smiled, distracted, and said, "Oh, we thought it would be easier to just celebrate both of you together." Except Aaron's birthday had been 3 months earlier. I felt something collapse inside my chest. When I pointed that out, my father sighed and said, "You're too old to care about birthdays. Aaron needs this more." That sentence followed me for years. Then came the moment that changed everything. They sang. Not to me. To him. They cut the cake. And handed him the first slice. When I said nothing and quietly grabbed my jacket, my mother rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic," she said. "You'll be back." They didn't even notice the door close behind me. I didn't have a plan when I left. Just a backpack. A phone with low battery. And a certainty that if I stayed, would disappear completely. I slept on a bus bench that night. I cried quietly, not because I missed them, but because I finally understood the truth I had avoided my entire childhood. I was never going to be chosen. So I chose myself. The first year was brutal. I took whatever work I could find. Warehouse shifts, cleaning jobs, night deliveries. I slept in shared rooms, sometimes cars, sometimes places I never learned the names of. I learned how to stretch $1. How to read people quickly. How to survive rejection without breaking. And I learned something else. I was observant. I noticed inefficiencies everywhere. Waste. Systems that didn't make sense. Processes people followed just because that's how it's always been done. That observation became my advantage. One night, working late behind a commercial complex, I noticed dumpsters filled with discarded materials, usable components, outdated equipment, packaging still valuable. I started collecting. Studying. Researching. What others called trash, I saw as potential. I taught myself how to refurbish, resell, repurpose. I started small, online listings, local buyers, late-night repairs done by phone flashlight. Then I reinvested every cent. I didn't buy comfort. I bought growth. Within 2 years, I had a tiny rented space and a legal business registration. People laughed at my concept. They said it was risky. Ugly. unstable. I remembered hearing similar things growing up. So I ignored them. I hired carefully. Built systems deliberately. Refused shortcuts that compromised quality. My company grew not because it was flashy, but because it was reliable. Contracts followed. Then partnerships. Then recognition. While my parents posted about family values online, they never called me. While they helped Aaron bounce from one failure to the next, I built quietly. I didn't reach out. I didn't announce success. I let silence do its work. 10 years after the birthday they gave away, I signed papers for a $5 million penthouse overlooking the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Space I owned. A life I built from what others discarded. That night, standing alone with the lights of the city spread beneath me, I didn't feel pride. I felt closure. That's when I decided to invite them. Not out of spite. Not out of longing. But because revenge doesn't always need anger. Sometimes it needs contrast. I sent formal invitations. No explanation. Just an address. A date. A name they hadn't used in years. They arrived stunned. My mother whispered. My father stared. Aaron tried to joke his way through discomfort. They asked questions. I answered politely. They apologized vaguely. I accepted nothing explicitly. Then my mother said, "We always knew you'd do something." That was the final twist of the knife. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I simply told the story. The birthday. The dismissal. The walk into nothing. And I told them this. You thought I would crawl back because you taught me I needed you. Instead, I learned I never did. Silence filled the room. They left early. I stayed. The city lights reflected against the glass, steady and unbothered. I didn't win by proving them wrong. I won by outgrowing their power. And that invitation? It wasn't reconciliation. It was a reminder. They gave my birthday away. I gave myself a future. And this time, I didn't share it.